would sit on the back steps and smoke cocaine and listen to the play, and it made me crazy. It made me crazy.
Behind the glitz and glam of Hollywood lies a shocking reality. 25 black celebrities secretly battling intense pill addictions. Their struggles will leave you speechless as we uncover the untold stories behind their fame. Number 25, DMX. DMX, born Earl Simmons, was one of the most iconic rappers of his time. Known for hits like Party Up and Ruff's Riders Anthem, he was a star with unmatched energy and a gritty voice that fans loved. But behind the success, DMX fought a long, painful battle with addiction that started when he was just 14 years old. DMX's drug use began when someone he trusted gave him a blunt laced with crack cocaine without his knowledge. This early betrayal led to a lifelong struggle with addiction, one that he openly spoke about later in his life. While DMX is often remembered for his crack addiction, what many don't know is that prescription painkillers also played a role in his struggles. After years of hard living and performing, DMX's body endured constant pain. Painkillers were meant to help, but instead they became another obstacle he couldn't escape. The combination of crack cocaine and pills made it difficult for DMX to focus on his career and family. He went in and out of rehab numerous times, but the grip of addiction was strong. DMX's pain wasn't just physical, it was emotional too. He carried deep scars from a tough childhood and used drugs as a way to numb the pain. Despite these struggles, DMX always tried to fight back. He leaned on his faith and spoke openly about wanting to get better. But addiction is a tough enemy, and DMX's battles often made headlines, worrying fans. His tragic death in 2021 after reported drug overdose left the world mourning the loss of a music legend. Speaking of music legends who struggled behind the scenes, let's look at the deeply emotional and troubled life of Marvin Gaye. Number 24, Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was the voice behind timeless hits like What's Going On and Sexual Healing. His smooth voice and heartfelt lyrics touched millions, but his life off stage, well, it was far from peaceful. As Gaye's career soared, he found himself under immense pressure. The demands of fame, personal troubles, and financial struggles pushed him into a very dark space. To cope, Marvin Gaye turned to prescription drugs. In his later years of his life, Gaye relied on pills to manage his stress and depression. These medications were supposed to help him feel better, but instead, they created more problems. Gaye's reliance on drugs affected his relationships with family and friends. His mental health worsened, and he often became reclusive, distancing himself from the people who cared about him the most. On top of that, Gaye's childhood left deep emotional wounds. His father was abusive, and Marvin grew up feeling unwanted and unloved. These feelings stayed with him and played a role in his dependency on pills to escape his pain. Gaye's drug use also impacted his music. While he continued to create beautiful songs, his battle with addiction and depression made it hard for him to stay consistent. By the 1980s, Gaye's life was spiraling out of control. Tragically, in 1984, Marvin Gaye's story ended in violence when his father shot and killed him during an argument. Marvin Gaye's story is heartbreaking, but it also shows how important it is to address mental health and addiction. Behind the fame, he was a man struggling to find peace. Marvin Gaye's story is tragic, but his chaotic life isn't the only one marked by addiction. Let's turn to Rick James, whose wild and unpredictable lifestyle left behind a powerful cautionary tale. Number 23, Rick James. Rick James was the king of funk, known for his hits like Super Freak and Give It To Me Baby. His music was bold, energetic, and full of life, just like his personality. But Rick James's wild lifestyle came with a dark side too, an addiction that consumed him for years. James had a well-known cocaine addiction, but he didn't stop there. He also used prescription painkillers and sedatives, which only made his problems worse. At the height of his career, James was living a chaotic life filled with drugs, parties, and excess. While his fans saw a confident, vibrant performer, those close to him knew he was struggling behind the scenes. The combination of cocaine and pills fueled erratic behavior that often got James into trouble. He was arrested multiple times, including for serious offenses like kidnapping and assault. These incidences, often tied to his drug use, tarnished his reputation and derailed his career. At one point, James admitted to spending $7,000 a week on drugs. This level of addiction was dangerous and unsustainable. His body began to show the effects, and his relationships suffered as well. Friends and colleagues worried about him, but James was caught in a cycle that was hard to break. Number 22, Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson, the legendary frontman of the Gap Band, gave the world timeless hits like Outstanding and You Dropped a Bomb on Me. On stage, he was vibrant and full of energy, but behind the scenes, he faced a battle with addiction that nearly cost him everything. Charlie's addiction spiral began with alcohol and drugs, including prescription painkillers. His success in the music industry came with constant pressure, and he turned to substances to cope with the highs and lows of fame. The painkillers were meant to help manage physical discomfort, but they became part of a dangerous cycle that only deepened his struggles. At one point, Charlie's addiction was so severe that he became homeless, sleeping on the streets despite being a music icon. He later described that period of his life as one of the darkest times he'd ever faced. Addiction doesn't care about fame, and Charlie's story proves how quickly it can take hold of someone's life. What makes Charlie's story remarkable, though, is his journey to recovery. With the help of rehab and support from loved ones, Charlie managed to get clean and rebuild his life. Today, Charlie Wilson is a powerful advocate for addiction recovery, using his story to inspire others. His transformation shows that even when it seems impossible, redemption is always within reach. Speaking of redemption, let's turn to Pimp C, whose story is a sobering reminder of how addiction can cut a life short. Number 21, Pimp C. Pimp C, one half of the iconic rap duo UGK, was known for hits like Big Pimpin' with Jay-Z and International Players Anthem. His deep voice and unique style left a lasting mark on Southern rap, but behind the music, Pimp C was battling a dangerous addiction to lean. Lean, a mixture of prescription codeine, promethazine, and soda, was a popular drug in the hip-hop community. It gave users a relaxed, euphoric feeling, but it came with serious risks. Pimp C became heavily dependent on lean, and the drug started to take its toll on his health. The addiction didn't just affect his body, it also impacted his career and relationships. Friends and collaborators noticed how his addiction made him less reliable and more withdrawn. Despite the success UGK achieved, Pimp C's personal battles were overshadowing his professional achievements. In 2007, tragedy struck. Pimp C was found dead in a hotel room at just 33 years old. The cause of death was an accidental overdose of codeine mixed with sleep apnea, a condition he had been suffering from. His death sent shockwaves through the music industry and highlighted the dangers of lean, a drug that has claimed the lives of many artists. While Pimp C's story ended in tragedy, Billie Holiday's journey shows how addiction can haunt even the most iconic voices in history. Number 20, Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday, known as Lady Day, had a voice that could move mountains. Her songs like Strange Fruit and God Bless the Child are still celebrated as some of the greatest jazz recordings of all time. But while Billie's music captivated audiences, her personal life was a battle with addiction. Billie's struggle with heroin began in the 1940s and lasted for much of her life. Heroin, an opioid, was incredibly addictive and destructive. Billie turned to drugs as a way to escape the pain of her troubled childhood and the discrimination she faced as a black woman in the music industry. Her addiction brought constant legal troubles. She was arrested multiple times, including once while she was hospitalized. These run-ins with the law affected her ability to perform, and her career began to suffer. Despite these challenges, Billie continued to perform, often showing up on stage visibly affected by her drug use. By the late 1950s, Billie's health was in serious decline. Years of heroin addiction had taken a toll on her body, and she developed liver disease. Billie passed away in 1959 at the age of 44, leaving behind a legacy of incredible music, but also a heartbreaking story of a life cut way too short. While Billie Holiday's story is a poignant reminder of addiction's toll, Lauryn Hill's experience shows how prescription drugs can impact even the most celebrated artists. Number 19, Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill burst onto the music scene in the 1990s as a member of the Fugues, and later as a solo artist with her groundbreaking album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. She was at the height of her fame, winning multiple Grammy Awards and being hailed as a musical genius, but fame came with overwhelming pressure, and Lauryn began to retreat from the public eye. During this retreat, Lauryn reportedly developed a dependency on prescription medications. These pills were meant to help her cope with the anxiety and stress that came with being in the spotlight. However, they became a crutch, making it harder for her to maintain stability. Lauryn's behavior became increasingly erratic, and she struggled to manage her career. She withdrew from music for years and only occasionally performed or released new material. Fans were left wondering what had happened to the artist who they had come to love and admire. From Lauryn Hill's quiet battle to the tragic loss of Nate Dogg, let's move to another artist whose health struggles were deeply tied to painkillers. Number 18, Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg, the smooth voice behind countless hip-hop hooks, was a defining figure in West Coast rap. Songs like Regulate with Warren G and his collaborations with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre made him a household name. But Nate Dogg's life was far from easy, and his health struggles eventually led him down a dark path with prescription painkillers. In the mid-2000s, Nate Dogg suffered a series of strokes that left him partially paralyzed. The pain and difficulty of recovery led to a reliance on painkillers. These medications were prescribed to help him manage his condition, but they quickly became an addiction. The combination of his health challenges and his dependency on pills made it difficult for Nate Dogg to continue his music career. His voice, once so powerful and smooth, was impacted by his declining health. Fans who once heard him dominate tracks now worried about his well-being. In 2011, Nate Dogg passed away at the age of 41 from complications related to his health issues. His death was a devastating loss to the music world and a stark reminder of how quickly addiction can spiral, especially when tied to chronic pain and illness. Number 17, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is remembered as one of the most groundbreaking comedians of all time. His raw humor and fearless storytelling changed comedy forever. But behind the laughter, Pryor faced deep struggles, including a long battle with addiction. In 1980, Pryor suffered a life-threatening accident while freebasing cocaine, a process that involves heating the drug to smoke it. During the incident, Pryor caught on fire and sustained severe burns over much of his body. The physical pain from the accident was excruciating, and to cope, he relied on prescription opioids. These painkillers were meant to help him recover physically, but they soon became another form of dependency. Pryor's reliance on opioids wasn't just about physical pain, it also tied to the emotional scars he carried. Pryor grew up in a rough environment, dealing with poverty, abuse, and trauma. Drugs became a way for him to escape his past and the pressures of fame. While Richard Pryor turned his pain into art, Michael K. Williams faced his own battle with addiction in a world of drama and emotion. Number 16, Michael K. Williams. Michael K. Williams, famous for playing Omar Little on The Wire, was a talented actor known for his ability to represent complicated characters. His performances were very emotional, and that emotion came from his own life events, including a long battle with addiction. Williams freely said he used heroin and prescription opioids to dull his emotional pain. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, he experienced difficult times that had a long-lasting impact on him. Even as he became famous, his difficulties continued. The stress of succeeding and the burden of past pain caused him to return to the drugs repeatedly. Even at the peak of his performing career, Williams struggled to remain sober. In interviews, he talked about how his addiction almost made him lose his part on The Wire. He frequently used drugs after shooting, feeling stuck in a situation he couldn't get out of. Even though he faced difficulties, Williams worked to highlight the issues of addiction. He talked honestly about the difficulties he faced, wanting to help others who were going through the same struggles. Tragically, his fight ended in 2021 when he died of an accidental overdose. Williams' death surprised friends and showed the risks of addiction, even for someone who appeared to have everything. Michael Williams' story of talent and tragedy is mirrored in the experiences of Eddie Griffin, a comedian who used pills to navigate the pressures of Hollywood. Number 15, Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin, known for his great sense of humor and roles in movies like Undercover Brother, has been open about his struggles with addiction. Griffin started using medicine to cope because, like many in the entertainment industry, he felt a lot of pressure to succeed. Griffin said he took prescription drugs and other strong medicines to help him deal with the ups and downs of Hollywood. The constant pressure of being a star made him live a dangerous and risky lifestyle. Pills became a place for him to escape the stress and exhaustion of his job. Griffin's addiction hurt his health, his behavior, and his relationships. He chose to confront his problems directly instead of hiding them, though. Griffin has openly discussed how hard it was to beat addiction during talks. He credits his recovery to the help of friends and family, along with his love for humor. While Griffin battled addiction through the demands of Hollywood, Tracy Morgan's struggle came after a devastating accident that changed his life forever. Number 14, Tracy Morgan. The cherished comedian and TV star Tracy Morgan from 30 Rock has had amazing obstacles in his life. 2014 saw Morgan in a near-fatal vehicle accident when a Walmart truck ran over his limousine. His injuries from the incident were severe: shattered ribs, a leg injury, and traumatic brain damage. Morgan was prescribed painkillers to help control his severe discomfort during his recuperation. Originally needed, the painkillers became increasingly important to Morgan, like many others, even after his physical injuries started to heal. His reliance stemmed in part from the emotional anguish the tragedy caused. Losing his buddy and fellow comic, James McNair, in the crash added to the emotional weight, making it even more difficult to release the hold of medications. Morgan's path toward recovery was protracted and challenging. While fighting the impulse to turn to medications as a means of escape from the emotional and physical suffering, he had to relearn fundamental skills, including walking and speech. Number 13, Samuel L. Jackson. With remarkable performances in Pulp Fiction, The Avengers, and Django Unchained, Samuel L. Jackson is among the most identifiable performers in Hollywood. Jackson battled a terrible struggle with addiction, though, that almost ended his career before he became well known. Samuel L. Jackson battled alcohol and cocaine addiction during the 1980s. Many people are unaware, though, that his fight included prescription drugs. Like many in Hollywood, Jackson turned to narcotics to help him with the demands of the entertainment business and career-developing difficulties. Pills started to provide a means of escape for his personal problems. Jackson's addiction plagued his family and interfered with his profession. LaTanya, his wife, once threatened to have him clean or face losing everything. Along with a moment of self-realization, this wake-up call drove Jackson to get therapy. He started the challenging road of recovery from addiction. While Samuel L. Jackson conquered his battle with pills, Don Cornelius faced a different kind of struggle with multiple surgeries. Number 12, Don Cornelius. Don Cornelius, the creator and host of Soul Train, brought African-American music and culture into the mainstream. His smooth voice and iconic sign-off, "Love, Peace, and Soul," made him a legend. But behind the scenes, Cornelius battled addiction to prescription painkillers, a struggle that intensified in his later years. To treat health problems, Cornelius had multiple operations. Brain surgery corrected a threatening aneurysm. He was in constant pain after these operations, and doctors wrote prescriptions for painkillers to assist in controlling it. The medicine was first required, but over time, Cornelius developed a reliance on the pills. Physical suffering combined with the negative effects of the medications started to compromise his mental state. Concerned, those closest to Cornelius withdrew, and he battled mood swings. His previously vivid personality seemed to wane in favor of someone fighting inner demons. Tragic events occurred in 2012 as Don Cornelius committed suicide. His passing stunned the globe and left supporters grieving not only for the loss of a television innovator, but also for the suffering he must have gone through, particularly considering physical suffering and mental health issues. Cornelius's narrative is a sobering reminder of how readily prescription drugs may control someone's life. While Cornelius's story ended tragically, Paul Mooney faced his own struggles with addiction and mental health, often hiding them behind his sharp humor. Number 11. Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney was a legendary comedian and writer known for his fearless approach to topics like race and social justice. He worked closely with Richard Pryor and wrote for shows like Chappelle's Show, using his sharp wit to challenge societal norms. But behind his brilliance was a man who faced his own battles with addiction and mental health. Mooney's struggles with painkillers started after dealing with health problems that required medication. Like many, he was prescribed opioids to manage physical pain, but over time, the line between use and dependency blurred. The pills not only dulled his physical pain, but also became a way to cope with the emotional toll of a demanding career and the weight of addressing heavy topics through comedy. Number 10. Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom was a star on the basketball court, known for his skills as a forward and for helping the Los Angeles Lakers win multiple NBA championships. But while Odom was celebrated as a player, his personal life was far more complicated. Addiction to drugs and alcohol overshadowed much of his career, and prescription pills were also part of his struggle. During his time in the NBA, Odom turned to substances like painkillers and anti-anxiety medications to cope with the intense pressure of being in the spotlight. The physical demands of the game, combined with personal stress, pushed him toward unhealthy coping mechanisms. Pills, which were meant to help him manage pain and anxiety, quickly became part of a dangerous cycle. Odom's struggles weren't limited to prescription drugs. He also used cocaine and alcohol, which only worsened his situation. His battle with addiction became public in 2015, when he was found unconscious in a Nevada brothel after a near-fatal overdose. Odom later revealed that he had been using a mix of substances, including pills, leading to the overdose that almost took his life. While Lamar Odom's addiction took him to a dark place, Dennis Rodman's erratic behavior showed how a combination of pills and alcohol can create chaos both on and off the court. Number 9. Dennis Rodman. Among the most colorful and divisive individuals in NBA history is Dennis Rodman. Renowned for his distinctive flair, tattoos, and wild demeanor, Rodman's defensive playing ability brought him 5 NBA titles. But his life away from the court was disorganized, mostly driven by addiction. Rodman battled addiction in which alcohol and painkillers were dangerously combined. His strong playing technique sometimes left him in discomfort, and painkillers were his means of management. But his reliance on medications quickly, combined with his heavy drinking, resulted in unpredictable conduct that made news. Addiction by Rodman resulted in several public events, including excessive partying that eclipsed his basketball performance, inebriated outbursts, and arrests. Friends and colleagues tried to step in, but Rodman's larger-than-life image made it challenging for him to say he needed help. Dennis Rodman's story highlights the struggles of dealing with physical and emotional pain, which Nate Robinson also faced after leaving the NBA. Number 8. Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, a 3-time NBA Slam Dunk Contest winner, was known for his incredible athleticism and determination. Despite his small stature for a basketball player, he became a fan favorite with his fearless playing style. However, life after the NBA proved to be a challenging transition for Robinson. After retiring, Robinson struggled with chronic pain for years of intense physical activity. To manage his pain, he was prescribed opioids. At first, the pills seemed like a solution, but over time, Robinson began to rely on them more and more than he should. The combination of physical pain and the emotional weight of adjusting to life outside of professional sports made it hard for him to break free from the pills. Just as Nate Robinson battled the challenges of post-NBA life, whispers about Scottie Pippen suggest he may have also struggled with prescription pills during his career. Number 7. Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen is one of the greatest players in NBA history, best known for his role as Michael Jordan's teammate on the Chicago Bulls during their 6 championship wins. On the court, Pippen was calm, focused, and fiercely competitive. But behind the composed exterior, there have been whispers of personal struggles, including the possibility of reliance on prescription pills. Pippen's career was physically demanding, and injuries often required medical treatment. Painkillers are commonly prescribed to athletes for injuries, and some believe Pippen may have relied on them to stay in peak condition during grueling seasons. While Pippen has not publicly addressed these rumors, the intense pressures of professional sports often lead athletes down this path. Number 6. Ja Rule. Early in the 2000s, rapper Ja Rule, behind hits like Always on Time and Livin' It Up, dominated the charts. But Ja Rule suffered personally and legally during a storm in his career that affected his mental and physical state. He developed a reliance on prescription drugs to help with the stress. For Ja Rule, juggling public controversy and legal issues while trying to keep his music career going made his life intolerable. Painkillers turned into a means of escape for him from the emotional toll and body suffering that he experienced. But this reliance began to interfere with his capacity for personal life management and musical concentration. While Ja Rule dealt with hidden struggles, Lil' Kim faced her own rumored battles with pills amidst personal and legal chaos. Number 5. Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim, often referred to as the queen bee of hip-hop, broke barriers with her bold style and unapologetic lyrics. However, behind her glamorous persona, there have been rumors about her struggles with prescription pills. Throughout her career, Lil' Kim faced significant personal and legal issues, including time spent in prison. These challenges, combined with the pressure of maintaining her image and relevance in the competitive music industry, led to speculation that she turned to pills as a coping mechanism. Painkillers and anti-anxiety medications were rumored to be part of her attempt to deal with the stress of fame and personal hardships. Lil' Kim's story highlights the unseen battles of fame, much like D'Angelo, who disappeared from the spotlight while struggling with his own issues. Number 4. D'Angelo. With his skill and charm, D'Angelo, the soulful R&B performer behind singles like Brown Sugar and untitled How Does It Feel, won over listeners. But he withdrew from public view for more than 10 years following the release of his album Voodoo. Underneath his break was a struggle with addiction, including medication use to help with the great strain of celebrity stardom. D'Angelo battled the expectations that accompanied becoming a music icon. He self-medicated with narcotics, including prescription medicines, under pressure to live up to his past achievements, and because he felt uncomfortable in the limelight. These drugs helped him momentarily escape his anxiety and tension, but they finally prevented him from concentrating on his music and well-being. D'Angelo's return to music is inspiring, but mystical struggles with prescription drugs show how legal and personal battles can deepen addiction. Number 3. Mystical. Rising to popularity in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Mystical was well known for his aggressive singles like Shake Ya Ass and Danger and Rough Voice. However, personal problems and legal issues frequently eclipsed his professionalism. Mystical turned to pharmaceutical medications to help him get through the trying circumstances. Legal problems, including time spent in prison, caused Mystical mental suffering. The tension and worries these conflicts brought about drove him toward anti-anxiety and other medicines. These medications provided a brief solace from his troubles, but they also started a difficulty, breaking a cycle of reliance. Mystical's reliance on pills mirrors the experiences of Redman, whose recreational use of drugs also impacted his life and career. Number 2, Redman. Redman, the charismatic rapper known for his humor and hits like Time for Some Action, built a reputation as one of the most entertaining figures in hip-hop. While Redman has always been open about his love for marijuana, he also admitted to experimenting with pills during his early career. What started as a recreational use began to affect his focus and behavior. Redman's laid-back attitude towards substances sometimes spilled over into his work, causing challenges in maintaining a consistent career. Although his pill use wasn't as extreme as others, it still served as a reminder of how even recreational use can impact one's life. While Redman managed to regain control, Boozy Badass faced a much deeper battle with codeine that nearly consumed his life. Number 1, Boozy Badass. Boozy Badass, formerly known as Lil Boozy, became a prominent voice in Southern rap with songs like Wipe Me Down. But his career and personal life were deeply affected by his addiction to codeine, often consumed as part of the drink known as lean. Lean, a mixture of prescription cough syrup containing codeine, promethazine, and soda, was popular in the hip-hop scene. Boozy's addiction to lean became so severe that it started to take a toll on his health and career. The drug gave him a sense of relaxation, but it also caused mood swings, weight gain, and other negative side effects. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more shocking celebrity stories and updates. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest. See you next time.